Mario Kart, everybody. Oh god. I chugged a Coke Zero, and I have a lot of burps in me, I think. So... what's new, everybody? What's been going on in everybody's lives? Once the race starts here, I do want to chat with you guys. I do actually have some topics that we can talk about. I feel like live streaming in a lot of ways is a lot like podcasting. So I feel like I'm just here podcasting. Although I feel like I don't know. I wouldn't be good on a podcast. Which also, I think I'm not good on live streams either. But, so yeah, oh god, sorry, wait, I'm also checking my bitrate. I tested my stream before I started the stream and it was good. So hopefully the stream tonight is good. But I'm scared I'm gonna jinx it. But, did you guys see, the other night I was like checking Twitter and I saw that Nintendo just like at the most random time of the night tweeted out that stream quality looks crisp. Thank you. Okay, very good. Yeah, just like randomly in the middle of the night, Nintendo tweeted out that I don't know I should probably look up the exact tweet, but it was basically that the Nintendo Switch successor is gonna be announced by the end of the fiscal year, which is in March 2025, I believe. And they're gonna have a Nintendo Direct in June that will talk about Nintendo Switch games for the latter half of 2024, but no mention of the Switch successor. And I thought that was really crazy because I feel like that is a big like news drop to make in a tweet. I always feel like whenever Nintendo tweets start with, this is blank, like this is Miyamoto, and then it's like whatever. It's always like the most like random like big news drops. Like whenever the tweet starts with, this is blank, you know we're in for a big news drop. I see a lot of people hoping for Wind Waker remaster. Yeah, that's been a thing for a while, is like the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD on the Switch. Because they pretty much did it already for the Wii U. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a Wind Waker HD or Twilight Princess on Switch for like the last, you know, basically the last year of the Switch. It's crazy too that now it's like confirmed that it's finally confirmed that we know that there's a Switch 2 or whatever coming. I can't possibly see what games they're gonna put on the Nintendo Switch since it's the end of its lifespan. Exactly, unless it's just more ports. Unless the Direct is also gonna announce games for 2025. I mean, I guess they could. That's another big question about the Nintendo Switch 2 is like, is there gonna be an overlap? Like, are they still gonna be making games for the Switch 1 when the Switch 2 is out? Like how they did for PlayStation 4 and 5? I feel like I can see that happening, where like they still have games coming out for the regular Switch, especially because the Switch, I think they also mentioned, or like the news also came out that like the Switch era is the most profitable Nintendo era in history or something like that. I think that's what the news was or something. So I could see them doing a whole like they're still gonna be supporting the old generation, kind of like what they did with the 3DS and the Switch. I heard from the leaks that the Switch 2 is going to be compatible with the current Switch cartridges. That would make the most sense, but I'm not sure how accurate the leak is. Yeah, I would be very, very surprised if the Switch 2 is not backwards compatible with the Switch 1. Like that would be wild if the Switch 2 isn't backwards compatible. My jaw would be on the floor. Oh no, I'm dropping frames like a mother. Shoot. Why is it that I test out the stream before I start and then it's fine, and then when I actually come time to stream, it's not fine? I think it's okay now. Yeah, if the Switch 2 doesn't have backwards compatibility, that would be wild. Yeah, I saw that too. People have, or like the sort of leaks and stuff have been saying the Switch 2 is gonna be about a PS4. Which I think is fine, I don't know. I think we all accept at this point that Nintendo isn't trying to be the most powerful. And I think that's fine, I don't know. Like, I mean, how you look at this game, you look at Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I think the graphics still hold up pretty well. Yeah, for a handheld, it's really good, yeah. I do hope it's like, I do hope it'll at least be powerful enough where the games actually work. You know, like we don't get another Pokemon deal. Or like Princess Peach Showtime even had a little bit of jank in the graphics. Things like The Last of Us Part 2 was on PS4, so I'm excited to see how Nintendo is going to utilize that. That is true. It's true. Yeah, I just, yeah, my main thing is just as long as, like, the games can run, run well, you know? Like, I think the main thing is, like, games like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet or whatever, or, like, even, like, the third-party games. If the standard of that can be better, then I think that'll be A-okay. That's probably the biggest issue that they have to tackle is like games like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, or what else games were kind of janky? I don't know. I haven't played Witcher 3 on the Switch, but I hear it's impressive that it runs on the Switch, but it is kind of like crusty looking. But yeah, it's crazy to think that it's crazy to think that they would actually come out and say like, hey, our next Switch or our next console is coming out, like, basically next year. Recently bought The Witcher 3 Complete Edition for PS5. I think it was like $20. Nice. Nice. Dude, I still have to play Witcher 3. I have been chipping away at Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 5. That is a good game. I've been enjoying it so far. I still don't know how I feel. Oh god, am I gonna drop frames again? I still don't know how I feel about the whole, in Spider-Man 2 they do the whole 2-character gimmick. It's usually not my favorite thing in games. I don't like having to switch between characters. But it's good. It's a fun game. I think the next Pokemon game is going to take place in the Unova region. Sorry, I don't know anything about Pokemon, but is that the one? It's the new is that the new Arceus game? Or not Arceus, Legends game? What is it called? It's called Legends. Is it called Legends XY or something? Wait, I might just be making that up. It's basically Pokemon Black and White. There was a moment, I went to GameStop the other week, because I'm a sucker and I like to use my GameStop $5 coupon every month. And I was debating, I was really considering buying, which one I think they had Pokemon Scarlet. Pokemon Legends ZA, right. What an interesting name. I wonder what the sales numbers are, because I always feel like Pokemon Violet is always sold out. I always only ever see Pokemon Scarlet. I feel like I can never find Violet. Haven't bought a game from GameStop in months. I just like going to GameStop because, I like using my $5 monthly reward. Because I'm a sucker. Just been finding games for cheap on eBay or Amazon. Nice, that's cool. Hello, Curse. X01. Are you playing with viewers? I can. I forget how I have this set up. I think I have a friend FC? Oh no, I don't. Here. At this point, I feel like I can probably just wait, sorry. One sec. So usually what happens is like, because we don't have enough players in chat to where we can make a custom lobby, but if you wanna friend me on whatchamacallit, Switch, the code is in the Discord, and then usually in these public lobbies, like, there's usually some room for like 1 or 2 people to join. Yeah. So I'm kind of playing with viewers, just in a public lobby. That's all. But also, hello. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, I went to GameStop, and then I pre-ordered, because I'm one of these people who pre-order video games. I pre-ordered, Paper Mario and, Luigi's Mansion. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of excited about those games. I would say I'm probably more excited about Luigi's Mansion than Paper Mario, because I'm not gonna lie, I don't really feel like I have a connection to Paper Mario as much as other people do. And I feel like, well, I mean, it wasn't recently, I guess, but it was like 3 years ago when we streamed Paper Mario, the Thousand Year Door on stream. And like, it's a long game. It gets kind of tough towards the end. I'm like kind of scared to ever play it again. But I know that that's like a game that everybody and their mother really likes. You actually want to get the Paper Mario game? Yeah. Is the Luigi's Mansion a remaster of the GameCube one? It's Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. So it was the one that was on the 3DS. Man, I wish they would I really wish they would remake the first Luigi's Mansion. I kind of wonder if they ever will remake Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube, because, like, Luigi's Mansion 1 is so different than 2 and 3 that maybe they're just trying to, like, sort of ditch the old style of the first one. I don't know. But I want to see a Luigi's Mansion HD. That would be so sick. Excuse me. Well, yeah. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, I guess so. And like, it's funny that it's funny that Nintendo even like confirmed like that there's gonna be a there's gonna be a direct in June. So now we know, at least. Oh wait, they brought over the GameCube one to 3DS, right? Had no clue. Yeah, it was like a later 3DS game too. Like I think they put Luigi's Mansion on the 3DS like I want to say while the Switch was out, when the Switch came out, or maybe right before the Switch came out, I forget. So it was like a later 3DS game. But yeah, the problem is that, you know, Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube, it uses both sticks. So then like trying to do that on the 3DS, it's kind of tough. Because like the new 3DSs have the little nipple, but I feel like it doesn't work as well as a C stick. But fun fact, random fact, the cool thing about Luigi's Mansion on the 3DS though is that back on the GameCube, they were originally planning to have like 3D on the GameCube, but they didn't. So like Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube was supposed to be like the sort of the tech demo for like 3D on the GameCube. So it's kind of cool that now there is an actual 3D version of Luigi's Mansion on the 3DS. That's kind of cool. And then we can turn that into a TikTok. Everything I say now on stream is with the purpose of turning it into a TikTok of some sort. Bought some replacement stuff for your GameCube controllers. A lot of the joysticks are broken or missing, so I'm gonna replace them and clean them up. Nice. Nice. I know the GameCube controllers, especially if like you use GameCube controllers for Smash, like they can get super duper loose, and obviously it's so old by now. Yeah, that's cool. I get scared about opening up controllers and replacing stuff, but then I remember that these controllers are like 20 years old, so it's not like there's a warranty for them or anything, so I might as well open them up, I don't know. Yeah, I wonder how difficult it is to like change, because you wouldn't even have to, or I mean, you wouldn't, it's not only the stick that you would have to replace, right? You would have to replace like the whole module, like the whole, because when the stick gets loose, it's because of that, it's because of like the whatever, the springs or whatever, right? So you would have to like change the whole thing. I don't know. Like I really want to change, even like my Pro controllers are getting kind of loosey-goosey. But yeah, it's like, I feel like it's a pretty like invasive surgery. So I'm scared. That's the biggest bummer about controllers in general. I always feel like it's like when the sticks get loose. And it's like, what do you do? Like, you know, a lot of times it's like warranties aren't gonna cover that, or like, you know, there's like no easy fix to it other than to just buy a new controller, which is kind of annoying. Hopefully the new Switch controllers have like Hall effect or something, like something to where we don't have to worry about loose sticks. Although I don't think even like the PlayStation, I don't think any controller or any like first party controllers have Hall effect yet. I do want to mess with the current gen controllers like PS5 or Pro controller for Switch. I feel like I'm gonna mess it up even more. Yeah, it's so scary. But it's like, yeah, it's just like over time the sticks get loose and it's like, God, what do you do? It's either you try to fix it yourself or you just buy a new controller. So I guess in that case, it's like, why not open it up? If you're probably gonna just replace it anyway, like why not just open it up and try to fix it yourself, I guess. That's like my version of like girl math. But yeah. What is the best controller right now, I wonder? I feel like I really like the Switch Pro controller. I think it's really good. I have I feel like I have kind of hot takes, or like I have really different opinions than most people, which is that like I feel like the DualSense PS5 controller is actually too hefty for me. It's a bit too chonker. The Xbox controller I think is pretty nice. It's just weird because I feel like no controller right now has a good D-pad. It's like, that's like the biggest, it's like the plague on current controllers. Like none have like a decent D-pad. But I guess I would say probably current controllers right now, I would say probably like Switch Pro controller #1, then Xbox controller, and then DualSense PS5. Low-key really wished PlayStation would release a Last of Us Part 2 cover plates for, would release, Last of Us Part 2 cover plates or controller when they dropped the remaster. That would have been so nice. Yeah, that would have been cool. They had, I remember they had Last of Us Part 2 PS4 controllers, I remember, right? That one looked really cool. I'm surprised they didn't do some kind of drop for both of the games too. Part 1 and Part 2 remasters. I don't know, did they do anything for Part 1 remastered? I forget. Oh yeah, also on my recent trip to GameStop, I was low-key, I was a little bit considering getting Last of Us Part 2 remastered. But then I was like, I don't know. I can't really just, I really want to get Last of Us Part 2 remastered for the most dumb reason, which is that I want my Last of Us Part 1 remaster and Last of Us Part 2 to sit next to each other on my game shelf. But right now it's like the Last of Us Part 1 remaster is with my PS5 games, and then my Last of Us Part 2 is with the PS4 games. And that bugs me. The most like first world problem. So if I get Last of Us Part 2 on the PS5, at least they're both on the PS5. They will be next to each other on my shelf. Yeah, I'll probably wait for it to like go on sale or something, I don't know. Find a good deal for it. Last of Us Part 2, similar to like Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, Last of Us Part 2, that is a like, I feel like that is a very big time and emotional commitment to play, which sometimes makes me like scared to ever replay it. Because yeah, it's a big commitment to play through Last of Us Part 2, I realize. Frickin' Rat King. I don't know if I could ever do that again. Did I ever tell that story? So in Last of Us Part 2, there's the big Rat King boss. I played the game on the easiest setting and I still got wrecked. I was still like cursing at my PlayStation. That was a tough one. I'm also just not that good at those types of games. As much as I like the PS5 controller, I just really like the layout of the Xbox controller. Bought the Last of Us controller, but it was kind of like a shadow drop almost. They didn't really promote it. Ah. Just replayed The Last of Us Part 2 over the weekend. I forgot how good the game was and experienced the story all over again. Nice. I really do want to, yeah. I also would really like to go back and replay both the games. Yeah. I feel like you have to be in a certain mindset to play any of the Last of Us games, because they're so just like, it's so just bleak and like just you know, scary at times. But yeah, I really liked really enjoyed Last of Us, the first game. I'm interested to go back and play through part 2, just to have a different perspective on it. I think when I first played The Last of Us Part 2, I was shooketh that like half the game takes place as a new character, which I guess, I mean, spoilers for The Last of Us Part 2 from like 4 years ago, but I was pretty shooketh that when the game didn't have Ellie. I forgot you can't go into the game with any emotional attachment to the characters. Exactly. Yeah. It's a lot. But yeah, oh wait, actually, speaking of which, I guess it was maybe a few months ago, or I don't know, a couple months ago, I watched the Last of Us Part 2 documentary. That was an interesting watch. Highly recommend. Yeah. I'm trying to think what else games. Yeah, oh yeah, I also saw too, speaking of The Last of Us Part 2, I guess, that I wonder how far they are into filming the next season of Last of Us. My doctor had mentioned to me that I should watch Fallout on Amazon Prime, and I watched like the first like 10 or so minutes of Fallout on Amazon, and I had to turn it off because I could already tell like this is gonna be like just a depressing show. It's similar to The Last of Us, and I don't know, man. Once again, I feel like you have to be in a certain mindset to watch stuff like that. So yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with Last of Us Season 2. I remember seeing they casted Abby and what is the girl's name? Ellie's girlfriend? Diana? Diana? No. So that should be interesting. The lore in the game is so expansive and all the artifacts and stuff. I feel like the HBO show is definitely going to take advantage of them and adapt them into episodes. Yeah. Dina. Right. That should be interesting. Yeah. God. I just hope, I hope, because I know Neil Druckmann has said that, that part 2 is gonna take place over multiple seasons. I just hope like the show doesn't get like cancelled before they're able to go through the entire Last of Us Part 2. Like I hope Yeah, I hope it doesn't like get canceled after this next season or something, or like they don't pick it up again. That would be a bummer. But yeah, that should be interesting to see how they make it into the show. I wonder how they're gonna do the whole like character switch. I want to see, I think, well, I mean, not that it would be funny, I just kind of want to see, like, I think it would be kind of ironic, I guess, if, like, if they get the same reaction as people had with the game when you switched characters. Like, if there's, like, if there's a big controversy with the show, everyone's like, oh, it's like, not this again. It's just deja vu. But yeah. Oh, I also watched, I watched Baby Reindeer on Netflix. I binge watched that in like one day. That was a pretty good one. I'm pretty sure there's only people who watch the show and are, yeah, exactly. Like the people who only know the show and don't know the game. Yeah, I watched Baby Reindeer on Netflix recently because it's the same people who made The End of the Effing World, and I really liked that show. And that was good. IDK, these past few months I've been rewatching a lot of comedy sitcoms. Nice. Classic. Yeah. I don't know. Good old Friends, I guess. Man, that takes me back. I was pretty late to the whole Friends game. I watched Friends in like 2018, I want to say. It was on Netflix at the time, and I just binge watched like the whole 10 seasons or whatever. Yeah, what kind of sitcoms are we talking here? I've been getting a lot of iCarly TikToks, and it's made me kind of want to watch iCarly. The Office is probably one of my favorite comedy shows. Nice. Alongside Parks and Rec. Nice. And The Office. Superstore is also really good. Superstore? I don't think I've ever heard of Superstore, actually. You know what's so sad and I feel really bad about is like, I really enjoyed The Office, so obviously the most logical step was to watch Parks and Rec afterwards. I watched like maybe 2 or 3 episodes of Parks and Rec. I honestly could not get into it. Which I feel like I should probably retry it, but I don't know, for some reason I had a hard time. I think it's because I am so oblivious to things like, because Parks and Rec I think is a lot of like, what's the word? I don't know if politics is the right word. I think Parks and Rec has to do with politics, right? I'm really oblivious when it comes to that kind of stuff, or like community sort of societal jobs and whatnot. So like I feel like I had a hard time relating. Where I feel like The Office I could relate pretty well because I've worked office jobs, but like stuff like Parks and Rec, it's like I don't know what they're talking about. The first season is kind of slow. Ah, interesting. Yeah, even like The Office, it's so funny going from, which I guess actually the first time I watched The Office, the first few episodes were kind of tough for me too. But like, yeah, even like comparing the first season of The Office to like the second season, it's like night and day. Huh. I should probably give Parks and Rec another go at some point. Yeah. I also saw, I only saw this because, my niece watches, Paw Patrol, and we were watching Paw Patrol on Nick Jr. or whatever. I also recently saw that they're making another Fairly Odd Parents show. After the live action one was the biggest flop of mankind. I thought that was interesting. I don't know. I think the art style looks kind of interesting, but we'll see. I'm scared that it's probably not gonna live up to the original show, but once again, we'll see. Actually, wait, what day is it? I think wait, was it May 10th or May 20th that it comes out? Yeah, I don't know. I always get interested when there's like reboots of my favorite childhood shows. They also put the SpongeBob movie on Max. So I was rewatching the SpongeBob movie for the first time in like years. And I'm not gonna lie, I loved the SpongeBob movie when I was a kid. Watching it today, I feel like there's honestly not as much comedic moments in the SpongeBob movie as I remember there was. I mean, there's still some funny, there's still really like funny parts in the SpongeBob movie, but I remember it being like really funny and really enjoyable. But watching it today, not that it wasn't enjoyable, but I feel like it wasn't as enjoyable as I remembered. I don't know. But I don't know, I always like the SpongeBob movie, I just think of like a classic, like just absolute classic. Then again, I really liked the frickin' Thomas and the Magic Railroad movie when I was a kid. So maybe I shouldn't trust my childhood. IDK Man, sometimes I feel like they need to let these shows go and create something new, but then again, I feel like there's a lot of risk when it comes to creating a new show or creating something new in general. That is true. That is very true. Yeah, I think it's a tough sell. Or tough sell. It's a tough sell when you're trying to make something completely new. I'm trying to think of where like that actually worked out. I feel like, yeah, it's like probably like the big corporations or whatever, like they see just the same thing over and over as the safest route. The whole like if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of thing. Like, I don't know. The thing I think of is like from when they going from like Drake and Josh to iCarly. I like that. I guess that worked out good or worked out well. What else? When like a creator made something new and it became as successful or more successful than the original thing. God, I can't think right now. There's probably something else, but yeah, that's interesting. Doop boop boo. Sorry, I'm looking at my topics. I wrote down topics that I can turn into I can turn into TikToks and YouTube shorts. So did you guys hear that Rooster Teeth shut down after like 20 years? Which is really crazy because I genuinely thought Rooster Teeth was just gonna keep going and going. I never imagined Rooster Teeth would ever end. And I don't know, in case you guys don't know, Rooster Teeth, they made like red versus blue is like their big thing. They made Ruby. And yeah, they're shutting down after like 20 years. And it's funny because when I was in college, I had to take an internship for one of my courses, and I applied to be an intern at Rooster Teeth, and they didn't accept me. But I did get an email from them basically saying, hey, we appreciate you applying, but we're not gonna accept you. And I'm not gonna lie, like, this was before a lot of the drama, a lot of like the sort of more recent drama that came with Rooster Teeth. So I guess maybe it might have been a good thing that I didn't get accepted to Rooster Teeth as an intern. Yeah, but yeah, it's sad to see that they're shutting down. Like, it's really wild. I actually thought that they could have just kept going and going. Like, I feel like they were probably one of like the biggest like sort of online media companies for a while. Like, I don't know, I would say Rooster Teeth is probably on like the level of like, I don't know, like Mythico Entertainment, you know, the like Rhett and Link, they make good Mythico Morning. Like really big companies that make like online video. Also we can turn that into a TikTok or something. No, yeah, so like, cause I think it must have been 2018, 2019, when I applied for an internship at Rooster Teeth, which is in Austin, Texas, so I would have had to relocate to Austin, Texas. Yeah, Good Mythical Morning is, yeah, they're really big. Yeah, but then like, I think like pretty shortly after I was declined an internship at Rooster Teeth, it came out that basically 2 of the employees were like, you know, not good people. They were predators, basically. So I was like, wow, I guess I may or may not have dodged a bullet there. Yeah, in college, I when I had to do internships, I actually was like, I was pretty like, what's the word I'm looking for? I had high hopes. I had big dreams when I had to do an internship in college. Like I was applying to like, yeah, like, so I applied to Rooster Teeth. I applied to like NBC Universal. I actually got like, I made it to like the second round of interviews for NBC Universal for an internship, and then I never got it. I applied for WWE, I remember. And then I applied for, I don't know if I should, maybe I shouldn't say what, maybe I shouldn't say what I applied for, but I applied for this other company. I believe it was in California. And then I got a phone interview with them. And it's, to this day, I think it's the worst interview I've ever done in my life. Granted, I've probably only ever done like 2 or 3 interviews. But so I applied for this internship for this place in California. And my interview, because of the time difference between California and Hawaii, my interview was at like 7 o'clock in the morning or something. So I basically like I basically just woke up early, turned on my phone, and then did this phone interview. And so I remember like feeling groggy, like I probably sounded so groggy, like I was not in any shape to be doing an interview. And it was like one of the worst interviews I've ever done. Like one of the worst probably human interactions I've ever done. Like the guy was asking me about like, oh, so you know this place is in, you know this internship is in California, like what are your plans about relocating? And I remember the answer I gave was like, oh, well, I was just gonna like play it by ear and see what happens. Like probably the worst thing I could have said in an interview. And I remember by the end of it, I don't think they even said like, hey, okay, sounds good, we'll follow up with you or anything. I don't even think they said that they'll follow up with me. They just said, well, thanks for your time, and then hung up. Or like, and then I remember, oh wait, no, I remember too near the end of the interview, the person that was interviewing me was like, oh, well, I highly encourage you to check out places that are sort of nearby you or like in your state. Like basically saying like, yeah, just try somewhere else, buddy. Yeah. And that was like, I remember like after that interview, I just like went to bed feeling so defeated. I was like, okay, I just screwed up royally and I'm just gonna go back to bed. I think what you said about relocating really said that's all we need to know exactly. They're like, okay. But I mean, I don't know. Like, yeah, that's how I live most of my life. I just kind of play it by ear. I feel like if I had relocated, I would have figured it out somehow. Like, I remember the person interviewing me had asked about like, oh, do you even have like a, like how would you, you know, how would you get around? Like, how would you, yeah, how would you get around? And I think I even said like, oh, I would probably Uber. Which I mean, you know, Ubering costs a lot of money. But yeah, that was probably the worst interview I've ever done in my life. And obviously I did not get the internship. But yeah, I guess it all, you know, the whole, like, everything happens for a reason. I guess, I don't know. My life path is just, my life path is just kind of playing itself out, I would say. When I applied to jobs during college, I got turned down most of the time because of my time schedules with my classes and whatnot, but even right now, the job market is a mess. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like... Wait, I'm trying to think, like, what should I say? Every so often, I do get curious, like, what the job market looks like right now, and it just makes me so depressed. It makes me so depressed because of how just few options there are, or like, it's the classic, like, you know, the classic, like, when the only job openings you need like 10 bajillion hours of experience to even apply, which is just ridiculous. Yeah, no, it's rough. Yeah, like today what Microsoft did by shutting down 3 huge studios, laying off the employees. Yeah, exactly. That's so sad. Jobs aren't even sustainable right now. Yeah. Yeah, it's rough. I always wondered, I always have that like whole like, what would happen if we end up in like a dystopia, or like what would it take for us to like sort of end up in like a dystopian type of future where it's like, you know, jobs and like everything is changing so much in the world, like there has to be a certain breaking point where it's just like the fundamental way that we are living as humans just doesn't work. But I don't know if that point will ever come in our lifetimes. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's really crazy because, wait, yeah, I should be careful with my words. It's really crazy because I have been in situations where like I learned that some people that I work with in jobs and whatnot, like I come to find out like even like some of the higher ups in some jobs that I've had, like they have to work multiple jobs. And like they're, you know, they're like managers and stuff and like they still have to work multiple jobs. Like that's crazy. That's crazy to me. Yeah, I think, I don't know. I would say probably my dream in life, I don't know if it's even like a dream, but like I would say probably a future that I can see for myself is like, I don't know. I don't want to say that I've completely let go of my dreams of becoming a hashtag quote unquote content creator, but I will say I could see a future for me where content creation or whatever like is can serve as a secondary income, which is kind of what I do right now. I'm very lucky in that that y'all, everybody out there in the world, not everybody, but you know, people in the world out there are very supportive of me and I appreciate that a lot. So like yeah, even now I feel like I'm very lucky in that you know, there's a little bit of, it's not like anything where I can live off of, but I do get a nice little secondary income from content creation and I'm very grateful for that. So yeah, anyway, sorry. Long story short, I think it would be cool where if I could have just a single 9-to-5 and then also create content which also generates revenue for me. Because I think having a 9-to-5 at the very least is nice for sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Structure? I don't know. There was this study that came out where it's like kids today, I think it's something like 30% say that they want to become an influencer or like a YouTuber or something. I think that's funny. No, I don't know. I think that's interesting. Eek. Oh god. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, I think obviously it's difficult to be a content creator, for many reasons. So I don't know. I feel like that would probably be the most ideal situation for most people, is like having content creation as a secondary revenue source. Like I always try to do the math in my head, like what would that look like? Like, I don't know. Cause I always like think about like, okay, if my content creation income becomes enough where it's like, you know, it can be half of my sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, if content creation income can give me half of the money that I need to survive, and then like maybe I wouldn't need like a super duper hectic or like super duper demanding 9-to-5 to support me, you know? Like I feel like the more money that I get from content creation, which I mean, sorry, wait, I should probably, not that it's all about the money. Oh my god, I'm stuck behind a rock. But like, I see it as like a scale, or like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, I guess a scale, where it's like, if content creation is like gives me this amount of money, then like I could have a 9 to 5 that isn't as demanding, you know? Like, I feel like probably I will always need a 9 to 5 because I don't know if I'll ever become successful enough, but like at the very least I can have like content creation still provide me enough. But I don't know, sorry, I'm just talking about myself at this point. I feel like right now the whole content creation scene is just competitive, but I respect everyone putting effort into making content. Yeah. The term media influencer is used so vaguely in the current generation. Yeah, I think, not that I judge anybody or anything, but I feel like most people when they think of influencer, they think of like the whole like, they think of like, oh, you know, like frickin' your classic like Instagram or TikToker where it's like, okay, you get paid to talk about this product and then you just make money like that. And I think people don't think about the sort of behind the scenes stuff that also happens that would get you to that level, kind of. Like they just see like, okay, sponsorships, and whatnot. Like that's how you make money. That's easy, but like it's really hard. It's really hard and really mentally draining. Yeah. Actually, perfect segue, I guess. Friend of the stream, but not really. No, Cat Liente, who does a lot of like TikTok like streaming tips and whatnot, is how I found her at least. She's doing another Creator Royale. And I was in the first Creator Royale. I got up to the top 30, I believe. So I'm excited for people to take part in that. Yeah, since I haven't been feeling too great recently, I don't think I'm gonna take part in Creator Royale 2, but yeah, I did Cat Liente's Creator Royale back in 2023 around October through December. I didn't think I was even gonna be accepted, and then I made it to the top 30 somehow. And that was really sort of eye-opening for me, because I never really thought my content was any good. Or like, I didn't think my content was good enough. So that was really cool, and I'm glad that she's doing another one, and I hope anybody who wants to join or wants to make content is able to join that contest. And yeah, that's about it. And we can turn that into a short. But yeah, I think yeah, it's hard. It's hard. And just like for me, as a very anxious person in general, I think, ow, I ran right into the banana. Just as like a socially anxious person in general, there's also a lot of like external pressures from like people where it's like people will judge you for like, you know, it's always such like a childish sort of like thing to be like, oh, I want to be a YouTuber, etc., etc. So that's always a really tough thing too. But yeah, yeah, it's tough. It's a tough thing. Speaking of which, wait, I want to do there's another short that I want to make. I want to make a TikTok or a short where I talk about the coolest mutuals that I have on Twitter and Instagram and stuff. Yeah, I think that's really cool about social media, is being able to connect with people who you look up to and stuff. Dude, we're gonna get so many TikToks and shorts out of this stream. Thank God. I need it. Yeah. I've been really lucky over the years to I've been really lucky to connect with people who I've always looked up to. So like on Twitter and stuff, I have some really cool mutuals that I'm like very like even still to this day surprised that I have. So after I did Cat Liente's Creator Royale, she actually followed me on Twitter and Instagram, I believe. And that was really cool. I have always looked up to her and I always like, you know, watch her content. So that's a super duper cool mutual follow. That's a really cool mutual that I'm excited about. I was also super duper excited when both Kit and Krista, who were previous Nintendo employees, they followed me on Twitter, and I think that's super duper cool. And TikTok too. I also was really excited when Nintendo Fangirl followed me on Twitter. That's like, I've watched her videos for like years and years, and so I feel like she's like one of the OG Nintendo YouTubers. So that was super duper awesome. I'm really like shocked that I actually have really cool mutuals on social media. Trying to think who else. You know, I would say a lot of the people who I've met, like a lot of creators I've met online, I'm very grateful to have as mutuals on social media. Right off the top of my head, really, I'm a big fan of Liz Bang. You know, trying to think who else. Yeah, I think it's really cool to like, I think it's really cool that like people who I've always looked up to actually follow me on social media. Like, what is this life that I live? Also, hello Funky Kong Mario Kart Wii 2008. I have $70 Australian for the 1000 Year Door remake, so excited for it. Nice, nice. You know, it would be a cool video idea, asking AI to create the plot to sequels of these top games. Me and my cousins were messing around with ChatGPT, and if you mess around with prompts and stuff, you can get some very detailed storylines, which I thought is cool, but then again, not everyone likes the idea of AI, but I just did it for fun. Nice, yeah, I think I have a really fun, I always have a really fun time just messing around with ChatGPT. Sometimes I will actually like ask ChatGPT for like advice on stuff, which I think is really funny. I had to ask ChatGPT for advice on, wait, I don't know if I should say this publicly. I had to ask ChatGPT for advice on how to ask a girl out on a date, in which I copied and pasted the text that I was going to send into ChatGPT and asked for suggestions. Oh my god. So I think ChatGPT is fun sometimes, and yeah, it's funny the types of responses you can get. Also, the 1000 Year Door remake. Did you pre-order it, by the way? Oh yeah, something what I really thought was a good idea. Some people are making our AI therapists, which I think is super cool. Yeah, that could be really cool. That could be really interesting. I do think there's a... Well, I don't know. I was gonna say, I think there is something about connecting with another human that does make therapy sort of... Basically, I don't know if AI could ever replace actual therapy, but also, I was thinking like maybe at some point we could get to like a Her, you know, the movie Her with ScarJo. Like maybe at some point we could get to like that level of AI where it's like talking to an AI is like talking to a human, kind of. And I could see maybe in that case, maybe, you know, AI therapy could be sort of... It could actually work, I don't know. Meh. Not getting Luigi's Mansion 2 because I have already played it, so I don't need the same game. Gotcha. That's an interesting thing too. Do you guys buy remakes? Or what are your guys' thoughts on buying remakes or ports or remasters, etc.? Usually my go-to, if the remake or remaster is better than the original, or if it adds more value, or, you know, it's like the definitive version, I'll usually sell the original version of the game, especially if it's on an older console. So for example, when I got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I sold my Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. What else? Basically, when there's a new like version or like a new remake or remaster of a game that can replace the original, I'll usually get rid of the original. No, just picking it up when it comes out, or Sunday. Oh, nice. When does it come out? Is it next week or next week? Next week. Paper Mario comes out. Oh yeah, when I got Last of Us Remastered, I got rid of my original Last of Us. But then sometimes I feel like it's actually, well, I don't know, at least for me, because I'm just a weird person, but sometimes I like actually keeping the original, even though there's even if there's like a more definitive version of the game. Or sometimes it's not the definitive version. Like Captain Toad Treasure Tracker on the Switch versus on the Wii U. I think the Wii U is still like the definitive version of the game, even though the Switch version does have new levels and stuff. Like I feel like the Wii U version of Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, you know, it has all the gamepad stuff, and like, where on the Switch you just have to use the frickin' gyro pointer. Oh, that could be fun. Maybe if we have time, maybe after we play Mario Kart, I don't know. At some point later on in the night, maybe we can predict what games are coming for the latter half of 2024 for a Nintendo Switch. Since they said there's going to be a Direct next month. I guess, yeah, maybe we might see that the long-rumored frickin' Zelda remakes that they've been talking about forever, or that rumors have been pointing towards forever. Wind Waker HD and or possibly Twilight Princess HD. What else? They haven't made a Mario Baseball game yet for the Switch. They pretty much have every other sport besides Mario Baseball. Maybe Mario Baseball? I don't know. I kind of doubt it. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door remake is confirmed to play at 30 frames per second. Right, I remember seeing that. Makes sense because the processor in the Switch is from 2015. Yeah, like stuff like that. I think whenever the new Switch comes out, that'll be nice when we finally don't have to freaking play games at 30 FPS anymore. Like that'll be really welcomed. That'll be really welcomed when the new Switch can actually run games at 60 FPS. Hopefully. I don't know, we'll see. Watch the new Switch come out and we still have to play games at 30 FPS. Which I don't think is like the biggest deal, but it is like, I don't know. It is like so nice when games actually play at a decent frame rate. Guys, I don't know if you can tell, I'm thinking of growing out my hair again. It's been a while. The last Chase long hair era was in like 2017. I'm thinking of bringing it back. Maybe not as extreme as last time. Last time I had my hair like down to my shoulders. I'm thinking, yeah, you know. I think it would be fun to go like maybe halfway of that. Ow! And then if I was really going wild, what if we could even bring back the Mohawk era Chase, the long Mohawk era. Which I think would be funny in 2024. How did I get 3 green shells all hit me at the same time? Wow, everybody's hitting me. Everybody's bullying me. Did I hate like when everybody gets all like sandwiched near the end? Everybody like gets all grouped up really closely. That's the most chaotic part of the race. Ow! Honestly, not excited for Switch 2 because I got my Switch Lite in 2020 and my second Switch Lite in 2020. You got 2 Switch Lites? That's interesting. Like most people I feel like would get a regular Switch and a Switch Lite. I didn't know... I wasn't expecting 2 Switch Lites. That's different, and I respect that. I have actually, like, I don't know, for the longest time, I've been debating, like, just biting the bullet and getting a Switch OLED. Like, even, like, I tried, like, running the numbers of, like, trading in my current Switch and then getting a Switch OLED. But yeah, I don't know, I can't bring myself to do it. And you know what the main reason is it's because the Switch OLED, I don't know exactly, I don't know if this is 100% true, but I'm pretty darn sure the Switch OLED doesn't work with the Nintendo Labo VR. I think you still need an original Switch to use the Labo VR. So that's the only reason I've been keeping my regular Switch. Even though I haven't used my Labo VR in like ages, and I may or may not have lost it. I don't know where the little freaking VR thing went. But yeah, I can't bring myself to give up my original Switch. It's not even my original Switch, it's the freaking 2019 version 2 Switch or whatever. But yeah, I did finally, my, one of my friends has a Switch OLED, so I finally did get to actually see the Switch OLED in person, because I've never got to see it before, and the screen looks nice. I think the screen actually does look, I think there is actually a difference between, I don't know how noticeable, but there's somewhat of a noticeable difference between the OLED screen and the LCD, regular Switch screen. But is it enough to be like an extra $50? I don't know. That one, I'm not sure yet. Although yeah, I will say, every so often when I use the actual kickstand on the Switch, oh my god, it's so bad. I don't know how they decided to let the Switch have that stupid, like, stick of gum kickstand. It's so bad. And it always falls out. So I'm constantly losing it. Anyway, sorry. That's my rant about the Switch kickstand. Switch was too expensive then, and Switch Lite was cheaper. Gotcha. Hope Switch 2 fixes Joy-Con drift. Yeah, well, I don't know. So I'm like I feel like I'm in like the minority where it's like I've, knock on wood, never had to deal with Joy-Con drift. The main problems I've had with Joy-Con... Oh god, I just like glitched through the jump. The main problem I've had with Joy-Con is that the Bluetooth signal isn't strong enough. Like ever since I had my first Switch, for some reason my Joy-Con will randomly just disconnect. But like I'm pretty sure that like the sticks work fine, it's just the Bluetooth signal isn't good. That's the main thing I hope they fix with the new Switch. Hope they get a better Bluetooth. Would it be a transmitter or a receiver? I don't know. I just hope the controller doesn't disconnect as much. It's funny, I actually rarely use my Joy-Con. I would say the only time I use my Joy-Con is when there's a Switch game where you have to use the Joy-Con. Like Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu or something. Besides that, I either will always use my Pro controller or I have the Hori Split Pad Pros. And those are really good. I actually forgot too, that's kind of a bummer about the Switch Lite is that like if you get joystick drift on the Switch Lite, you have to like replace the whole thing. Dang. Yeah, I was super duper lucky in that I've always wanted a Switch Lite just because I liked the idea of having a more portable Switch, and I got super duper lucky. I got ridiculously lucky because I won a Switch Lite from Scott the Woz. So that was really cool, and so now I have a Switch Lite that I just keep Dragon Quest in there because I really wanna, well, I mean, just so that at some point if I ever want to play Dragon Quest, it's in my Switch Lite and I can play that in bed or like portably. Because it's a super duper long game. But yeah. I think having multiple Switches is very interesting. I don't know if it's really worth it, honestly. But yeah, I like the build quality of the Switch Lite. That's like, I don't know. Something I really like about the Switch Lite is the build quality. It feels really nice to use. One thing I was disappointed was with the music, because I had a 2DS XL and it has calm music, but Nintendo as a company made the Switch bland. I think yeah, I think the idea with the Switch was just to make it as just quick as possible. But yeah, it would have been nice if they had themes or like because on the 3DS you could get like themes that had different background music, so maybe if they had like themes on the Switch it would have been cool. I imagine maybe, I don't know, I could see them adding themes on the Switch too. Oh god, I thought I was gonna die. But yeah, so now that we know that there's gonna be a Switch 2 announcement by March 2025. Watch them wait till the very end of the fiscal year. No, I doubt it. I imagine we'll probably get an announcement of the Switch 2 in like January or February of next year. Or maybe even by the end of this year. I don't know. I feel like by the end of this year feels a bit too soon. Maybe we'll see a Switch 2 announcement or reveal January or something. Especially if they, oh yeah, because probably in the, well, I don't know, I'm not an analyst or anything, but I don't know, I would imagine they would want to like use like December or like the winter time to sell Switches. So like announcing a new Switch would probably be counterintuitive. Yeah. I imagine maybe a Switch 2 announcement in like January or February of next year, and then it'll come out in April or May. It'll come out in May. No, I don't know. Your first Switch game was Minecraft. Nice. Minecraft was really good on the Switch. It was really cool to bring that handheld. Nice. And I haven't played Minecraft in a hot minute. My first Switch game... Actually, yeah, my very first Switch game would have been Breath of the Wild. I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've started with Breath of the Wild and then I played 1-2 Switch afterwards. Nice. Minecraft's a good one to start with. Yikes. Ow. Oh, speaking of which, that also brings up the question of like, what's the launch games of the Switch 2 gonna be? I still think Mario Kart 9 would be a good Switch 2 launch game, or Mario Odyssey 2. I could also see as another good Switch 2 launch game. I mean, since in the tweet they're like calling it the Switch successor, it sounds like it's gonna have to be it doesn't sound like it's gonna be like a Switch Pro. It sounds like it's gonna be a bigger deal than that. So, I imagine they're probably gonna have to need a big game. Like if it was a Switch Pro, I could have seen them launching with like Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild Deluxe version or something. But yeah, since it's like a full-on quote-unquote Switch successor, I feel like it has to be either Mario Kart 9 or Mario Odyssey 2. What else could they like launch with? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the biggest Nintendo games that you could launch with are either Mario or Zelda at this point. I don't know if there's any other games that could make that big of an impact at launch. Like, I don't know, I would say Splatoon, but I feel like Splatoon wouldn't really have Especially as Splatoon 3 just came out like really Splatoon 3 came out not that long ago. You quite enjoyed the 4 years of Switch Lite that you had. Nice, that's cool. What was your favorite game? Favorite game of the past 4 years of Switch Lite? God. There were a lot of good games on the Switch. I think, let me think. Like, GameCube had a really good lineup of games. Switch had a really good lineup of games. I would probably say Switch probably had one of the best lineups of games. The Wii had some pretty good games too. But yeah, Switch had really good games. Wait a second, I just realized Metroid Prime 4. I wonder if that's gonna be like that probably wouldn't be a launch game for the Switch 2, but maybe it'll be like the last game for the Switch or something. Metroid Prime 4. What happened to that? How are we doing on time? It's almost 10 o'clock. I'm debating what we should do for the night. We can continue Mario Kart for the rest of the night, or we could play some Smash. I've been wanting to play Smash because I wanna, I still have this Nixie Wizard controller, which I don't know if I don't know, they sent me this, I should mention. I don't know if I have to mark it as a ad or product placement, but, or sponsorship or whatever. They sent me the GameCube Joy-Con, and I want to try it out on Smash. Think Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Nice, that's a really good game. That was probably that's a really good game on the Switch. Yeah, especially Bowser's Fury. Bowser's Fury was like, I feel like the surprise that nobody was expecting. Bowser's Fury was really good. And then of course Mario 3D World is really good too. It's kind of weird because I feel like having like bonus games or whatever is a very like 20 or like very like this generation thing to do. Like, I don't know, I try to think like if I were a kid during the GameCube era and Nintendo made a game that came with a second game, like what would I do? Like I can't imagine like a, you know, like a freaking, I don't know, Mario 64 plus like, I don't know, freaking Luigi's Doggy Daycare, like on the GameCube or something. Like having a plus, like Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury seems like a very just like, I can't imagine them doing that in the past. I don't know. Also, now I really want to play Luigi's Doggy Daycare. Trying to think what else. Yeah, I would say my favorite game for the Switch. Oof, that's a tough one. God, I really like Mario Kart, but it's kind of weird because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is more or less just a Wii U game. But I feel like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the most... It's probably the game that I got the most hours out of on the Switch. I really liked Tears of the Kingdom. God, I really liked Mario Odyssey too. Not Mario Odyssey 2, but Mario Odyssey as well. I like that Nintendo used the Japanese box art for Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door and Super Mario RPG remakes. True. Yeah, it's really cool. I saw I saw that GameStop Canada, I believe, or was it GameStop UK or whatever? they have a pre-order bonus where it comes with the original GameCube cover art, which I think is pretty cool actually. That's kind of cool. That's a neat little pre-order bonus. Like it has like the GameCube logo on it and everything. Like I think that's a cute little thing. I like custom box art because, well, the thing that I don't like about custom box art is trying to print it myself. Like obviously I'm like just printing it on frickin' printer paper isn't gonna be any good. But like, so if it's like actually provided, I think that's kind of cool. Yeah, it's the GameStop pre-order wait, GameStop 1000-year door pre-order bonus. GameStop Canada. That's pretty cool. Meanwhile, in frickin' America, our pre-order bonuses are just god dang stickers or something. Like here's a sticker sheet. I'm a sucker for pre-order bonuses, honestly. Like, oh my god, I actually forgot. When I picked up Mario RPG, I asked the people at GameStop if they had the pre-order bonus, and they said no, but that their pre-order bonuses would come in the next day. So I actually went to the GameStop the next day to get my pre-order bonus, and I just walked out with these like stupid pins. Like, what? Like, imagine how much gas I wasted just to get stupid pins from GameStop as a pre-order bonus. Also, wait, I wanna... we'll mark that. Paper Mario Planes for the pre-order bonus. It's just paper. Man. I can print them out. Does it, if it, I don't know. If it at least looks like the paper airplane in the game, I'd say that's kind of cool. I don't know. If it actually resembles the in-game paper airplane. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like replaying RPGs in general, I have a hard time wrapping my head around. Which makes me scared to even try to replay 1000-year door again. I don't know. The real question is like, do we stream 1000-year door? Alright, she's thinking to head out for the night, 4 AM, and I have doctor's appointment for you. Oh, no worries. Hope you have a good... Alright, thanks, Turtwig. Thanks for hanging out, I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out and chatting. Hope you have a good... We have a good night and a good day tomorrow. Thank you, thank you. I'm trying to think of like the coolest pre-order bonuses I've ever gotten. I don't know. Like I feel like most pre-order bonus... Oh! I know the coolest pre-order bonus. The coolest pre-order bonus was the Super Mario Brothers Wonder trading cards from Walmart. That was a really cool pre-order bonus. I had a really funny incident with those though. Because I bought Super Mario Bros. Wonder... So wait, I pre-ordered Super Mario Bros. Wonder from Walmart to get the stupid trading cards. the order got delayed, and it got delayed by like a month or something. Like, it was crazy. So obviously I wasn't gonna wait. So obviously I wasn't gonna wait a month to get my copy of Mario Wonder. So I bought another copy from Best Buy, waited to see if and when the Walmart pre-order would come in. And so by the time it came in, like a month later, I had 2 copies of Mario Wonder. But I did get my trading cards, so I was pretty hyped about that. But I had to sell the second copy of Mario Wonder on eBay. So, yeah, that was a whole ordeal. I just like, I went through hell just to get these stupid Mario Wonder trading cards. I Mario Wonder if it was worth it. Oh god. Wait. Played Thousand Year Door on my Wii. I'm excited for more features. I only got to chapter 2. Nice. I still don't think it came out what kind of updates they added, right? I think the only thing they've shown in the trailers or whatever is that I think there's a new feature where, god, what is it? You can like, I think there's a button where it does Goombella or whatever, it does the tell or something. I don't know. Because on the website it says like, oh, there's gonna be new... On the Nintendo official website, it says that there's gonna be like new features that'll make the game easier to enjoy or whatever. So I don't know what that's gonna mean. Yeah, the only thing I saw from the trailer so far is that I think you can like... I also think you can like automatically switch your party members or something. But I don't know, I hope they add a casual mode or something like they did for Mario RPG. I'm not gonna lie, Thousand Year Door got kinda tough for me there at the end. And I mentioned that on YouTube, and somebody said in the comments, it wasn't that hard for me, or I didn't find it that difficult. And I said, wow, good for you, you must be a pro gamer. No, I feel like might be mild spoilers, but I feel like the final boss in Thousand Year Door was quite difficult. Even though I feel like I did a pretty good job at like leveling up my characters and whatever. And that final boss was still pretty tough. I don't know. Maybe if there's like a casual mode in Thousand Year Door, I think that would be nice. Well, I guess we'll see. I don't know. I'm surprised they haven't given more details about like whatever the new features are gonna be or whatever. So... oh no, is it gonna rain tomorrow? What's the forecast say? Oh no, wait. Why does it say 95% chance rain? Friday it's supposed to rain. Huh. What's the weather like for everyone in chat? What's the weather like in your part of the world? I guess it might rain here. Doop boop boo boo. What is Smash looking like right now? Should we play some Smash after this? I haven't played Smash in a hot minute. Actually, I went to a little gathering. I went to a little party, I guess. And I was hoping to play some Smash, but then we never ended up playing Smash, and I was really sad. But I really want to play Smash. Okay, we'll play some Smash after this. I've convinced myself. We'll play a bit of Smash. I wonder if there's gonna be actually, I guess, yeah, maybe... well, I mean, I doubt it, but if there's like a Smash Brothers at launch for Switch 2, that could be a really big deal. I highly doubt it. But I also wonder what they're gonna do for Smash for Switch 2. Honestly, I wouldn't be mad, I wouldn't be too upset if they just do like a Smash Ultimate Deluxe for Switch 2. Like, I think that would be fine, honestly. I feel like there's not much they could do with Smash Ultimate that would like Smash Ultimate is already just like a very good game. I guess like if they really wanted to, if they added a proper like story mode, that could be really great. That would make the game like super amazing. But besides that, like I don't, you know, it has every single freaking Smash character ever. It has so many stages. Like, I don't know what else they could do to make Smash Ultimate better. Which, I mean, interestingly enough, if they, like... Do they just... I doubt... I don't know, I feel like if they keep adding to Smash Ultimate, it might get a bit too redundant. So, I feel like the only thing they can do is, like, take away from Smash Ultimate, which seems kind of counterintuitive. Copied some new 1000-Year Door info from the Nintendo website. There's new info from the overview trailer shown. There's new info? Did they change the description or something? Oh, Endless Ocean. Sorry, I'm looking at the... I just saw on the Nintendo website. I saw that Endless Ocean, IGN gave it like a 4 out of 10 or something, like a really low score. Which made me kind of sad. What is the Endless Ocean? What do people think about Endless Ocean? They gave it a 2, oh yeah, 4 out of 10. Actually, never mind. Endless Ocean Luminous has a 63% on Metacritic. 5.6 user score. Also, 20 years after the original game on the Nintendo GameCube, version for Switch was revamped with graphics and updated soundtrack, gameplay, just like... Okay, updated quick travel pipes, and a partner ring to swap characters. Some additional improvements to visit the Battle Master if you need help with combat, access hint system if you're stuck, equip Nostalgic Tunes badge. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Hint system sounds nice. Yeah. I think that could be cool. There's a hint system. Interesting. I'm interested in the fact that it says, additions like quick travel pipe and partner ring. Like, it sounds like there's other features that they aren't mentioning. Like, I just want to know if there's a frickin' breezy mode. Like in Mario RPG. That's interesting. Yeah. I think the graphics look really good in the 1000-Year Door remake. The graphics look really, really good. But that's interesting. I wonder who... The Nostalgia Badge only costs 1 coin. Oh, okay, that's good. That's good. Imagine if they paywalled the soundtrack. But I don't know. I wanna... I mean, obviously people are gonna do that. I feel like I wanna hear the new soundtrack. Yeah, I wanna hear what the new soundtrack sounds like. I almost just bombed myself. Ow! God dang it, I hate the blue shell. I mean, I hate that the blue shell actually hits you on the... I don't know. I think it can be a good thing. Alright, we've been going for about 2 hours. Alright, yeah, I guess I'm craving a little bit of Smash Brothers. So we can switch to that, I guess.